Nearly 60% of Canadians say they couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency without going into debt. And if you've ever felt torn between helping your kids get ahead and supporting your aging parents while quietly wondering who's helping you, you're not alone. Today, we're talking about the 3 habits financially confident families do differently and how those habits can help you finally break free from that paycheck to paycheck cycle. So, here's what we're going to get into today. 3 simple habits that financially confident families do differently. First, we'll talk about how they protect their cash flow so they're not feeling broke every payday. Second, I'll show you how they manage to support their kids and their aging parents without totally wrecking their own retirement plans. And third, we'll get into the mindset shift that makes saving and spending feel calm and in control instead of stressful and reactive. By the end, you'll have a clear picture of what's actually working for families who've broken out of that paycheck to paycheck cycle and how you can start doing it too. I think every Gen X parent made the same quiet promise to themselves. I'm going to give my kids the life I never had. We worked hard, bought them the things we wished we had growing up, paid for the lessons, the trips, the phone plans, all because we wanted them to feel secure. But somewhere along the way, that same promise started to stretch us thin. We're helping our kids launch, maybe helping our parents age with dignity, and suddenly we're the ones running on empty. And the ironic part, I remember the first time I caught myself saying something my parents used to say about money. We can't afford that right now. And it hit me. I'd become them, just with a different bank balance. Here's what I've learned. Most of us are carrying money beliefs we never actually chose. They were passed down like hand-me-downs, fear, guilt, and the idea that we just need to work harder. But awareness is the first step to changing that pattern, because before we can talk about how to manage money better, we've got to look at where those habits came from and what financially confident families do differently. Now, the first habit is this. They protect their cash flow before they grow it. Money confidence starts with control, not more income. Because if your cash flow is leaking, it doesn't matter how much you make. It'll never feel like enough. Think of it like having a bucket with holes in it. Most Gen X families are pouring money at the top, good incomes, side hustles, bonuses, but there are leaks everywhere. And a lot of those leaks are invisible. The biggest ones, lifestyle creep. The small upgrades we barely even notice, like streaming subscriptions, takeout, little I deserve this treats, emotional generosity, helping others out of guilt before paying yourself, and a lack of system, no plan for where the next dollar goes. You can't build wealth without what I call a personal profit margin. That's simply the gap between what comes in and what stays in. If that gap is 0, your stress will be at 100. One of my clients was helping her adult daughter with rent. Every month, she'd move money around, trying to make it work, but she never understood why she couldn't save. When we look closely, that one invisible commitment, helping from guilt, was the biggest leak. We made one change. She paid herself first through an automatic transfer on payday. Within 3 months, she had savings for the first time in years. And that's what I call the cash flow guardrail system. Automate a pay yourself first transfer. Do a short weekly spending review and give yourself a guilt-free spending allowance. Those 3 steps create breathing room. And when you protect your cash flow, you finally feel like you're the one in charge, not your bills. Once you've protected your cash flow, you can finally start directing it, and that's what financially confident families do next. Habit number 2, they plan for everyone without sacrificing themselves. This is where so many Gen X families get stuck because we're the sandwich generation. We're raising kids, supporting aging parents, and trying to build our own future all at the same time. Here's what I tell clients. Picture 3 jars sitting in front of you. 1 jar is for your kids' future, 1 jar is for your parents' care, and the last jar is for your own retirement. Most people pour everything into the first 2 jars and hope there's something left for the third. But hope is not a plan. Financially confident families practice what I call proportional planning. They divide their money intentionally, not emotionally. Something like this: 60% for you, your own retirement and security, 25% for kids, their education or health launching into adulthood, and 15 parents for parents. A contingency fund for care, medication, or emergencies. Now, those percentages aren't perfect numbers. They're priorities. It's not about perfection. It's about setting boundaries that keep everyone supported. Because if you go broke trying to help everyone else, really nobody wins. And here's another secret. Financially confident families talk about money. They hold family money meetings that reduce guilt and guesswork. They share what's realistic. They set boundaries boundaries before there's a crisis. I worked with a client who stopped contributing to her RRSP because she was helping her mom with bills. When we sat down, we reworked her plan so she could still send her mom some help, but also put smaller, steady amounts back into her own retirement. That balance gave her peace of mind, and her mom respected the honesty. And when you plan this way, you're no longer reacting out of guilt. You're acting out of intention, and that balance is what creates real confidence because you know everyone's being cared for, including you. Habit number 3, they think like CEOs, not survivors. The third habit? Yeah, they think like CEOs, not survivors. Most people operate from a survivor mindset, reactive, emotional, and focused on just getting through the month. It's that feeling or just one more payday and then I'll catch up. Sound familiar? Financially confident families have shifted into the CEO mindset. They make decisions from a place of intention, not emotion. They treat their household like a small business with strategy, systems, and calm detachment. Every month, they hold a short money meeting. They review finances the same way a CEO reviews reports. What came in, what went out, and what can we do better next time? They don't freak out if something goes wrong. They just correct it faster. Even confident families make mistakes. They overspend, forget a bill, or miss a contribution. The difference is they notice it early. They adjust and then move forward. They see money as a tool, not a test. They approach it with curiosity instead of shame. And they know confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from paying attention. And once you start thinking like a CEO, you'll realize these 3 habits aren't complicated. They're consistent. But the next step is where most families either move forward or slip back. Now that you know the 3 habits financially confident families do differently, protecting their cash flow, planning for everyone, and thinking like a CEO, the next step is to actually apply them in real life because it's one thing to understand these habits in theory. It's another thing entirely when you're right in the middle of life, like real life, helping your kids launch, supporting your aging parents, and still trying to build your own future. That's why in my next video, Caught Between Kids and Parents, How to Save Yourself Financially, I break down exactly how to stay financially secure when everyone around you depends on you. So if you're tired of feeling pulled in every direction, but you want to finally feel confident that you're taking care of everyone, including yourself, make sure you watch How to Save Yourself Financially next. Go ahead and click right here and I'll show you exactly how to make that balance work in your real life.